All right, well, I want to introduce to you Ernie the Title Guy, good friend of mine, and he is knowledge based on anything that has to do with wholesaling. He started his career doing title. Now he's a huge wholesaler, hard money expert, and this is a person that you want to talk to and know what he knows, because he has a lot of information that could help you. And you know, closing deals, this guy is the man. He is like Stuart Scott, as cool as the other side of a pillow, because this guy gets there and he closes everybody, knocks on doors, he does it all. So introducing to you Ernie the Title Guy, my good friend. So I wanted to get you on the show just to talk about a little bit on what you do and, you know, and how you could help others. You know, sure. So my first question is, you know, you've been doing this for a long time. A lot of people have no idea how to make that extra income because times are tough, right? You know, you know, people are now driving Uber. They're doing all these like other things that they never did before because obviously things are expensive. Can somebody start doing, you know, what you do, or what, you know, investing and any of those things? Can somebody do that with, you know, not $1 billion, you know? Can somebody do it with, you know, a few $1,000? You know, is that possible?
Sure. So somebody that wants to get into investing in real estate, right? Is it possible to come in with little to no money down? And absolutely it is. So because of private money lending, which is the side of the business I'm in, right? Investors like myself and many others could really scale their portfolio and start buying properties in volume or however they want, and just leverage off this capital that they have access to, because the capital's lend is asset-based lending. They're lending the money based off of the asset. If the deal's there, the money's going to be lent for it, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, you have to come with a down payment, like maybe like what, 20, 30% of the deal, right? Okay. But when there's a deal, as long as you're connected in the right network, maybe you don't have the capital, but you could raise the funds. You know, if what you got to come in with is a total of $25,000, you could see who could lend you that and give them a 15-20% return on the money they lent you.
So that doesn't matter if, you know, I find the property and then all of a sudden I don't really have the money, but maybe you get 10 friends of yours to, you know, with a few grand each, and you could like make a pool.
Exactly.
And start investing, you know, that way, right?
Exactly.
Like, and
or you could bring in a capital investor into the deal, and somebody that maybe hasn't. I always recommend this either way, but somebody that has the capital to bring into the table and has the knowledge and experience to take that deal home, renovate it, sell it, and make a profit.
Now, so if somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, look, I have this killer property, whatever, in Hialeah, right? Nobody knows about it. You know, it's not listed, and I could get the property, and it's a triplex, you know. But damn, I don't really have, you know, cash." You could help in that sense as well. You know, put the deal together, or how?
Yeah, the first thing I would do is underwrite the deal, right? Like, let me look at the numbers and let me make sure it's a deal. And if it's a deal, and this person knows about the property but doesn't have the experience or the capital, my first question would be like, "Hey, I like the property. I think it's worth moving forward on it. How would you like to work this together if I was willing to come in as your partner?"
That's good. That's good, because there's a lot of greedy people, and that's why I love that you're not greedy at all. You're always trying to help people out. You know, going into what you do is, you have an event and you put together a bunch of investors and people together to start, you know, networking with each other.
Right.
So that's why I say that you're very kind in that sense. You're always trying to help people out, and you know, that's something that maybe someone may not know, right, that you would partner up with them if it's a good deal.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's amazing, because maybe the guy doesn't have any. He has a hookup, but he doesn't have the money. But instead of him being like, "Hey, I can't do anything," you'll be able to be like, you could partner up with them and make it happen.
Even if they have the money to put down, or maybe they have half the money, whatever it may be, you should always still partner with somebody on your first 1 to 3 deals, because there's a lot to learn, and a mistake could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Right.
Because you screw up on this property and you can't now sell it for the number you want. You're negative. You got to come cash to closing. You messed it up, and instead of thinking you're making money, you're now having to bring money to the table once you resell it to a retail buyer, right? That could happen, right? If you don't know what you're doing, if you buy a property and I have a house right now that I'm remodeling, and I didn't account for having like the bathroom floors. How can I forget the word right now?
Is it the ones that are high that they have the under?
Yeah. My brain just went to a blank right now. But either way, yes, the home is raised, right? And it's bothering me that I can't remember that word.
It's alright. It'll come to you.
The bathrooms, the floors are completely rotten, and when we started doing construction and knocking down things around the bathrooms and all that the house got a little bit shaky. The floors started sinking.
Holy crap!
Right. So I needed to now remove all that floor, start changing all the trusses running through along it set me back with not just a bunch of more material, but a much more labor to pay for and time. The time costs money because these private loans are interest-only payment loans, and you're paying the loan for the length of you're making the payment for the length of that loan. So you want to get out of these properties as quickly as you can. Having a problem that's set in a house like this, this sets me back another 30 days or so. That's another $7,000, right? That I owe on that private loan. So not just the $7,000, but the material and the labor, right? So when you add all this up, that one thing I overlooked might have cost me close to $15,000. That one mistake. You make another mistake like that one, you're at now $30,000, and you keep adding mistakes as a rookie, and before you know it, you're breaking even.
So
or if you're lucky, you're breaking even.
So you're saying make sure one good advice is whatever you're gonna do, whether it's with you or with anybody else, get with somebody that's already done it, and just have a mentor, have somebody to help you through the process, because there are a lot of steps. Like you mentioned, you have materials, labor, time. You have your interest-only payments that you're gonna have to pay these lenders. So there's a lot going on, and I understand why people will get scared too to even get into that business, because if you don't know, it's like, holy moly, what do I do now if I get stuck? So that's a really good tip for somebody that's starting to invest. And now
what work you could do with permits versus what you cannot do without permit. You could do without versus with permit, right? Somebody may go and knock a kitchen down and put a new kitchen, and they don't know that they need to do this permitted.
Right.
And the county code enforcement's driving by, sees a handyman walking in and out, gets down, wants to see what's going on. They don't know better. They let them in. Now they got caught. Now they have a stop order on the project, right?
Yeah.
Now you got to go to the county, the city, and start paying money to solve your problems. You got a citation.
Right.
You got a stopped project that you can't keep going. You got to now start going through all the departments of permitting and get them approved.
And that could set you back
a few months.
Yeah. So
a few months for something that you thought you were gonna get knocked down and put up new in a week.
Now, when you're doing these properties, this is just me thinking outside the box. Let's say you have a property. It's a
cross space.
Oh, cross space. There you go. It's true. Yeah.
That's what it's called, a cross space. Sorry, I just remember.
It's all right. So, if somebody goes right now, they have a property, right? They have this fix and flip that they see, and they're like, man, if you see a way of adding, let's say, an addition to it, or let's say not doing anything to the structure, maybe making it like a little efficiency type deal. Do you do that, or do you, or is that something that you don't even care? You just try to like flip it to the next guy, or
So
and I know it's you're talking about permits, not
you
permits.
gotta be a little more
know.
experienced to like dab into that, and the reason is because it's probably not gonna be done with permits, right? Maybe you're gonna convert a garage into,
Right.
look, my first flip that I did, my first fix and flip, I converted a garage into a master bedroom. I built a bathroom in there, I made a really nice bedroom, a big closet, and I turned a 3-1 into a 4-2, right? Obviously I didn't do that with permits, right? But I was being mentored by somebody at that time.
But what happens at that point that you're gonna sell it?
Nothing.
You sell it the way it is,
Sell it the way it is.
and then obviously you're making more money because you already have extra.
Today I've learned how to protect myself from that. So I'm not gonna have a problem selling that because there's no liens or violations or anything in that property, right? And the appraisal is gonna is an as-is appraisal. When the homeowner is going to buy the house, they have to send an appraiser to the property from the bank.
Right.
They're gonna appraise the property for what it is. If there's 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, that's what they're gonna appraise. It doesn't matter if county record says it's a 3-1. That's not what's there. That's not what they're appraising.
Okay.
If that homeowner later gets hit with some kind of violation, very difficult because it's in the interior of the home.
Right. Going back into what we were talking about, basically, well, let's go with this. I have a few questions, that I want to look at because I want to, see. I don't want to leave anything on the table and say, man, I should ask this or that.
Go for it.
So with your leads, yeah, you could go door to door, knocking on doors or whatever. What other lead generation do you do that could help somebody that might want to start this and not have a clue on how to get a lead?
So somebody looking to build, you want to start with a database, right? There's programs like, for example, I like to use PropStream. Okay, and in PropStream, I could build my own data. I could look up people in whatever distress point that I want them to be in, and I could get as granular as I want with that criteria search. I could look for property that have been owned. For example, here, if I'm hoping to find a tired landlord, I'm gonna look for a property that's owned 20 plus years, has maybe like 70% equity or more, non-owner occupied, and has a lien.
And all this, you could look it up in that.
And programs like PropStream.
Cool.
I would always recommend PropStream to somebody to get started.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Those are little tools that somebody might need. And if they don't know about it, how they gonna research it.
Right.
That's a great way to research it because you want to know, okay, what property can I purchase? What property can I, is good? Because you go in a neighborhood and what do? You just knock on each door.
Good. There's something called driving for dollars.
Okay.
The way I like to do it, I call it Googling for dollars versus driving for dollars. Driving for dollars is like basically driving around with a notepad like this and just jotting down any distressed property that you see. Something with the blue tarp on the roof, something with the grass too high, something that just looks abandoned, old, or beat up. Start writing down addresses so you can start getting yourself a database and you can begin to skip trace and look for whom the homeowner of that property may be and begin to reach out to them. I could do the same thing and save myself a ton of time by just doing that through Google Maps. So I've just learned to just go on Google Maps and start picking an area that I want to work, so like my farming area, and start going block by block, looking at the properties.
And what do you do, like a street view of it?
A street view. I do a street view. So I'm basically driving the neighborhood through Google Maps, and when I see something, okay, write that address down and keep it going to.
Cool. That's a good way. That's a good way to not have to go out and go and drive the car, and then you're getting tired.
It's much more efficient.
Yeah,
you're going to get more leads out of it. You're going to get more data out of that quicker, You're not gonna spend gas, you're not gonna spend time, you're gonna sit behind your computer and just do this and move on to the next.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Those are two good points that you've already put in there.
It's what you do with the data.
Right,
You know?
right.
So now you have this data, and what do you do with that next, right? You could SMS it, right? Like text message blast it. You gotta be careful. You gotta know how to do that because there's laws right now that protect like against SMS blasting.
Right.
So you need to know how to do that correctly. Cold calling, door knocking, letters, handwritten letters. If once you skip trace them, if you find emails, start emailing as well. I do a little bit, I wouldn't say I do all of those moves, but I definitely do the SMS blasting, I do the cold calling, and I do the door knocking. And the door knocking is the most effective. I used to do letters and emails, but they were just producing, at least for me, because what may work for you, like everybody has a different, the letters and the emails were not working as much for me as other avenues, so I just started putting more time and energy into the things that were working the best or that I found like a little niche to. Right? But there's nothing like knocking on somebody's door, them being able to like analyze you, see if they like you or if they don't, versus like a phone call, a card in the mail, a text message. It's not the same. In volume, you'll get a little bit of everybody because somebody may like a text message, somebody else may like a door, somebody else may appreciate a call versus knocking on their door or what. So you gotta do a little bit of everything to like grasp the like leads out of each. You know. But my biggest deals have come from door knocking, and it's because the homeowner has trusted me. They've trusted me, and they've trusted like my guidance, and it's helped me get to like a position where I get a good deal, the homeowner gets what they want, everybody's in a win-win, right? Which is important. Like as somebody coming in to buy a property, it's not always about, hey, I want to buy your house cash. You know, it's like, hey, you know, like, okay, you're willing to sell it. How come? Why are you selling it? What are you doing?
So the right questions. You
gotta prospect them because solutions happen. You could identify solutions by having the right conversation with the homeowner. It's not always about the price. Hey, I see your house. I want to buy it. I'll offer you this. What's the best price you would give me? Those are all horrible conversations to have with somebody. It's better to understand why they're selling the home. What do they plan to do with the next? Do they need the money before? Do they need to close to get the money to then find somewhere else to move? Like, is it, you know, like some of my best deals have taken place and there've been higher offers. But some of my best deals, they've worked with me because I asked the right questions, I listened, and I found solutions. Solutions as simple as giving somebody 45 days post-vacancy after closing in the property. Right? Like, okay, you have nowhere to go. I'll leave you in the property for up to 45 days so that you could get your money, you could have time to figure out what you're gonna do next, and then you can move on. Something as simple as that has made the seller take my offer versus a higher offer. That person wasn't listening and asking the right questions.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow. Well, let's move on to the lending part of this, which is a crucial part, and it's, you know, what you're doing now with Axe Capital. You're the one that's in charge of what is the hard money lending part of this business, and you know, give us a little bit about what the hard money side of this business entails.
The hard money side of the business is probably my favorite part of the business because it's now where you get to like really dissect the deal and structure it. And I like structuring these deals and seeing how can I capitalize as much as possible on the funding process, right? And I've learned a ton of things that could be done to maximize, like to leverage the capital on these deals, right? So the lending process is quite simple, right? Because it's not a conforming loan regulated by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and all these things. You know, it's not an FHA. It's not a conventional loan. This is a simple asset-based loan. It begins with something as simple as like a 1 or 2 page application, basically asking questions about the property more than about you, and taking it from there. Right?
Do they ask for like do I need a 700 credit score to do it,
You don't
or
need that.
you know, none of that?
Will that help you get a better rate and term? Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
But
good.
you don't need
Good to
that.
know. Okay,
You don't
good to
need
know.
that.
That's good to know.
I could basically fund you, no questions asked, with a copy of your picture ID, and fund you on a deal and ask you nothing else. But you're not gonna get the best rate, you're not gonna get the best terms, and you're gonna be charged a little bit higher in points. That doesn't matter.
Right.
If the deal makes sense, that doesn't matter, especially if you don't have the credentials to get, because you have like your true private money, and you have your institutionalized hard money. And the institutionalized is going to be, you're gonna get better rates and terms, right? You're gonna get higher loan to values, less points, okay, things like that, because they're doing a little bit more underwriting on you. The more underwriting you allow the lender, the private lender, to do on you, the better rates and terms he's gonna give you. Because you could prove that you have liquidity in your bank account, that you do have a good credit score, that you have 7, 8 projects under your belt, or you have whatever it is, your note is now sellable. So when your note, the note is, once you close, you fund, we lend you the hard money, that creates the note, right? That note is either sellable to the third party lending world or not, right? The way to circulate this money is I fund you, I sell the note, I get my money back, and I fund the next and sell the note, I get my money back.
Yeah.
That's how you could do heavy volume. In the private side, it's check writers. Hey, I like the deal. I'll work with you, they might drive, look at the property, do a pencil search.
So it could be a rich guy you might know that lends money, and he's like, just goes around, hey, yeah, I got you. I love that property, love the location, and it's people that are maybe on the ground here that are more active than the institution. Is that how that would work?
Correct.
Yeah.
The institution lies lending is probably more active because these are working off warehouse lines, and it's meant to do large volumes. So there's more activity there. The private guys are doing a little less, but they're lending the money much easier.
Yeah, they're lenient.
I just closed today, closed yesterday, funded today, my first deal that I went through private. And the process was super smooth and super easy. I used one of our private guys, and I got 100% financing. I got interest reserve payments built into the loan, so I'm not responsible for any payments on the loan. There was no appraisal, there was no application, there was no questions asked. It was straight up like, hey, I'm getting the property at this price. There's major equity. Like I have like 60% equity in the price that I'm in versus what it's worth right now. I remodeled, I have even more equity. So I basically bought that property, they got 30 cents on the dollar, which is like, it's a great deal, right? So the lender was able to give me 100% financing, built in the interest reserve payment, so I don't owe $1 until I sell that home.
Right, that's
Right?
awesome. Yeah.
And I was able to fund within the same. If you wanted to buy a property to invest in, you found a good deal, you brought it to somebody, like let's say you brought it to me, I looked at it, this is a great deal. I'll jump into this deal with you. So you open an LLC, you'll send all your information to us so we can do all the lending and all that with the warehouse line. But you'll get to use my experience because you brought an experienced person into the deal.
Right.
Operating agreements, or I get put on the LLC with you, and now like my experience gets to get used, and now you get like a really good deal. And if you do your first, I would say like up to like 5 deals with a partner, you'll get a better leverage on the money. You'll get the money much easier, much faster, because the other person knows what to do. And after like the 4th or 5th one, you can go on your own. You know the process. You've already flipped a few houses. You know what you're doing, and now you're getting really good rates and terms yourself too.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's a good helping hand. You know, a lot of people. It's a big. It's not like if you're going in and saying, "Oh, you know, I'm buying a car." You're buying a house that are, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sometimes people get scared. So if they could come in with somebody that they feel comfortable with and they have some experience and gain that, I mean, that's priceless. You know, having a mentor that helps you is priceless. For sure, you know, and
Absolutely.
and you would want to have somebody that has experience like yourself. I want to go now into one more question that I really wanted to ask you is so with all the experience that you have now, what would you tell your younger 10-year, you know, back 10, 20 years ago? What advice would you give that younger self of you, you know, that to help you in the future?
Invest more money back into the business. So when I first started, I've been in the business since 2012, and I started through the title, right? Through the title space. And a client brought a deal to me that they're like, hey, this is a short sale. I'm bringing it to you to the title company so you guys could process it and all that stuff. And I'm looking at the deal. I'm like, man, this is a house, a 4-2 in Westchester. Back then, right? They were losing it for like $100,000 or so, and the house was worth much more than that. And I'm like, there's no way that this house, they're losing for like 90 something, $100,000 or so. It's a short sale. It's not upside down. There's equity here. So long story short, I told the person I'll solve their problem. I went under contract. I went to a buddy of mine. He mentored me through that transaction, and we wholesaled it for a $96,000 profit.
Nice.
Basically the same amount that was owed,
Right.
like that they were losing the house for, I was able to wholesale it for that same amount. So basically made close to 6 figures on that deal on my first wholesale. I spent most of that money, man. I've never made that type of money before, right? Some years later now, where I'm at now, I'm investing the majority of the money I make back into my business today. Systems, more employees, technology, trainings, education for myself, because that's what's allowing me to keep growing.
Right.
I could make a nice banger on a deal, hit a good, like a good lick on a deal, and make a nice profit, and go on a vacation or 2 vacations, and go shopping and buy all this clothes and all this. And what did that do for me?
Yeah.
But it's not the same that, okay, I hit a nice deal, I added 3 employees to the team, I got better systems in place, I'm doing this now, and now you could go and you could get 10 more of those deals.
So reinvest in yourself.
Reinvest in yourself and in your business.
Right. All right.
When you close a deal, more money needs to go back into the business than into your personal pocket on that one deal. And if that wasn't enough money, then go out and find the next deal and stay broke, but put that money back into the business.
Nice. All right. That's good. That's good advice. Good advice. Well, I'm gonna put all the descriptions down below from Ernie, all his contact. As you can see, his YouTube channel, which is blowing up, and anything that you need, his contact's there. Hit him up. He is a super nice guy, and all he wants to do is help others, and that's exactly what he does. Hard working guy, and I never see anybody working harder than this guy. So hard work does pay off, and that's the proof right there. All right. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.